Alright, are we ready?
Yep.
Alright, welcome to Jesus Revolution.
Alright.
Online. Woo! You gotta say online, right?
Online.
Yeah. It's another exciting week. Well, I'm going to start off with, first I'm talking about today about becoming a worshiper of God. This is kind of like last time was the priesthood of God. Now our priesthood of the believer. Now we're going to talk about the becoming the worshiper of God. And I'm going somewhere, so just before I just want to recap what we talked about. Hopefully we learned last week from 1 Peter 2 verse 5. I'm just going to quickly read it and then kind of go through a few points that I just kind of threw together. Hopefully I covered those last time. I did actually should have went and watched my 4 videos, but I didn't. So look at my notes. But this is what I wanted to say. If you didn't get it, that's what I wanted to say. So firstly, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5 says, "You also, as living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ." So, first thing is spiritual house. Everything is not as it appears. We are not as we appear. We just had testimonies, people like, I don't know why I'm still at my job. I'm not as intelligent as all these other guys, and I'm still here. It's the favor of God. We are a spiritual house. Sometimes we look at ourselves and we devalue ourselves. But we are the house of God. Is it what we are? Sometimes we look at the church as the house of God, but we are all the house of God because He lives within us. He dwells within us. The Spirit of God dwells in us. So things are not as they appear. We are a spiritual house. Number 2, we are a holy priesthood. This is an actual position, a title with authority and responsibilities. So that's part of the thing. Where you have churches where they talk about the priesthood are churches that do stuff. Because there's a title, you're a priest, not in the sense of like the Catholic Church. You don't get a check from the church. You don't have a position to walk around with a collar. But on the inside, you are able to be a mediator between people. If somebody at your work has a problem, you can mediate between them and God. You can pray for them. All the time I tell people, I'll pray about that. Or I'll tell my people at church that we'll pray. That's being a priest. That's, your position, your authority. We have authority. We have a responsibility too. If there's a situation that needs to be dealt with, well, who has God given all authority to? Jesus said, Father has given me authority and I give it on to you. So we should not be the people. And I get kind of cantankerous about this where you have people complaining about the culture. It's like, well, who did God put in charge? He put the church in charge. He gave us all authority. He gave us all power. And so if there's a problem in the culture, then we need to change it. Not through an uprising, physical, but through spiritual uprising. Like changing the things in the spirit. And it's our responsibility. It's not our responsibility to complain about the culture and the problems and what this person did or what that video was of and this, that, and the other thing. Because there is opposition. There are people that want to change our culture to something that it shouldn't be. Let's see, number 3, spiritual sacrifice. This is an uncomfortable place for most believers, doing the inconvenient thing. Sacrifice is always inconvenient. It's never convenient. It's like, just want to give a sacrifice. It's the whole thing about sacrifice. So the first thing we do is we praise God when things are not going good. That is our spiritual sacrifice. Just praising God even in bad circumstances, when you can do that. Going to your prayer closet. How about this one here? Going to your prayer closet when you would rather go to the refrigerator or turn on the computer or turn on the TV. When you have a problem and you're like, I think I'm just going to see what's on TV. Or, I'm just going to go get something to eat or go surf the web or whatever. Instead of getting into your prayer closet, because we are a priesthood of God, we can go to Him, and we don't have to veg out. Sometimes when we turn the TV, we just want to not even think about the problem or solve the problem. But we have a responsibility to solve the problem. So, number 3, doing good to those we don't like. This is another tough one, So when somebody does something bad to you, to do good to them, to bless them. I know one preacher, in the past he'd said stuff about TV preachers, and every time he says it from the pulpit, God gets on him and he has to write him a check, send to his ministry. So one time he's like, I'm not going to say anything about any TV preachers, because every time I do, God makes me write their ministry a check, It's like, because you've got to do good to those people that, don't like you. That's how we win, because we're different. We don't get as angry, or we don't stay angry. I mean, we still get angry. I got angry the other day, but I didn't stay angry. I didn't get mad. No, it wasn't at you. It was at work, I told you. I was just mad at myself because everything was taking longer than I thought, And so I was like, this day is just dragging on. It just made me mad. You ever have one of those days? Yeah. And there was nobody to do good to, because I was the one. It wasn't until I did good to myself. There you go. I was mad at myself, or I was just mad at the situation. I wanted to be off work. All right, number D, believe great things about yourself. This is a tough one too for us. When you live your whole life in the safety of unbelief for yourself, it's easy to live in unbelief in yourself, because then you're not responsible. You don't have anything to do. Instead of challenging yourself, like one man said, he loves to live in his ministry doing things bigger than he could possibly do. He likes to live way out there on the edge where, like, if God doesn't show up right now, I'm going to look like the biggest fool, have like a big concert or something, some crazy thing. But we live in this unbelief in ourselves, because if we thought we could do stuff, like, this is doable. That's what people that do stuff, that's what they think. They think, I can do this. Even, you see these young guys, I always see young guys do that. They do stupid stuff, but their whole mindset is, I can do this. I can get my bicycle and I can go down this ramp, or, and do a triple flip and it'll work, or whatever they want to do. I'm thinking, how could they do that? Well, because I'm living in unbelief, like, I can't do that. That'll hurt, But they're like, I can do this. I can believe in that. People that do stuff do it because they believe they can do it so much. And so many of us live in this unbelief that I can't do that. I can't get this high-paying job. Like, God would never bless me with that, And we just limit ourselves. But that would be a sacrifice to actually believe you are who God said you are. If you actually believe you're as great as God thinks you are. He thinks you're great. Contrary to what all the other people say about Joel Osteen, his stuff. God does like you. He did create you. And number 4, through this, we saw that all this stuff is through Christ. It's not, you don't do great things for yourself. You do it for Christ, for His glory. You don't, pray or do anything. We do it all through Him. And so that's what we learned last time. Is hopefully everything goes through Jesus. He gets all the glory. We throw our crowns at Him at the end. So first, our verse for today, I only have like one, maybe two. John chapter 4, verse 23. I got it here, but I also got it here.
Was it 23?
Chapter 4, verse 23. Yep, just one verse. And you know the story. It's a story about Jesus and the woman at the well. He stops to talk to the Samaritan woman, which totally freaked her out because he was Jewish and she was Samaritan, and he was a man and she was a woman, and men don't talk to women, and Jewish men don't talk to Samaritan women, and they don't even talk to Samaritan men. In fact, the whole point that he went there is contrary to what they do, because they went totally around Samaria. They lived in Galilee, and when they went to Jerusalem, they went down, cut over, went over all the way around Samaria, and came back in from the other side. They didn't even travel through. That'd be like going to Sacramento to come to Woodland, or because you don't want to go through Knight's Landing or something. Yeah, it's like that.